One moment, God loves you.
Jason Montana, take one.
I understand that you and Maddie and David went to Honduras on a mission trip. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my oldest daughter is Madison, and my next child is David, so I have 5 kids. And we went to Honduras last year, or I guess now it's 2023, so 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've been on a few mission trips. When I was younger, I went on one to Mexico. Mm-hmm. And when I started having kids, I was just thinking about, like, as a parent, what's my vision for them? And one of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to take each of my kids on a mission trip before they left home and went on their own. And so this was the second trip that we went on. I went to Mexico the year before with my daughter Madison, and this time I wanted to take David, and I asked Madison if she wanted to go again. So we all went to Honduras, and we went through an organization called Global X, which is connected with North Point Ministries, and we just had an amazing experience going to there. So we had to fly in, then we had to drive through the mountains, and we went to this place called Agulta Valley, which is like hours and hours away from the airport, through the hills and valleys, and went to serve this community in this area through the school systems and doing some kind of vacation Bible school type things. And then we also built a variety of things, including some different things that they use for collecting water or for their bathroom system, for cleaning things. Lots of concrete floors.
What about the people you served with? Like, did they touch your heart the most, or were there some people that touched your heart?
Yeah, so the people that we went with, it was a family trip, so there were some other families that went with us. And some of the families that went with us were the same families that went with us when we went to Mexico. So that was cool to reconnect with them. And then we met some new friends. And those people were just amazing. I had a great time just, getting to know them and doing that. And then the people that were there locally, that were part of the ministry or leading it, all these different people that play different roles, had different impacts. And then there were just a lot of, when you go into a place like Honduras in the rural, there's just a lot of need. And so it was just really powerful to see how those people live. And when I think about a mission trip, a lot of times I think in America we can think of it as like a one-way thing where I'm going to help them. But what I really want to do, and I think the healthier way to approach it, is to see like this is a mutual thing. Like they have something for me and I have something for them, and it's an exchange of sorts. And so the people there, gave me things that I didn't have. And so it was just delightful to just see the kids, and we had this party where we were dancing and just having fun and just being able to be blessed in that way. And then there was also the dark sides of it, which was seeing people in suffering and pain that we couldn't necessarily do anything to end, but we had to sit with that and pray with them in order to ask God to intervene in some way. Maybe it was in one situation it was a health situation.
What would you say to a parent who has never been on a mission trip with their kids and is hesitant to take them?
When you go on a trip with anyone, it creates a bond between the people that you're on the journey with and the experience. And that was with my kids, with my daughter and my son. We just had this shared experience that only we had together. And so it creates that connection. And there's not a whole lot of types of experience that can create that kind of thing. So it's a really powerful thing to do. And it's also an opportunity to expose them to worlds that are very foreign to us, particularly in America. In terms of just our day-to-day lives, we take so much for granted, and there's so many benefits that we have that we don't even realize what it took to provide those for us. And so when you go to another country like that, you get to see that and experience that. And for kids, I think it has a way of shaping who they become and the type of people they become, and ideally that they become more Christ-like in that experience. So I think it's transformational for the kids, for them to become who they're meant to be, and then it's good for the relationship between us and our children and developing those. Overall, I think it's just a positive thing. I think there are always going to be risks, but the family trips that we did were fairly minor in their risk, so you can always pick one that is less risky in that sense, and do your research and due diligence and follow certain guidelines to maintain that safety if you have those concerns. One of the other concerns that people might have is fundraising, like we had to raise those funds. So people might be worried about that, but I was one of the few people that was excited to do the fundraising part of the experience.
Are there any other things you'd like to share with us?
I did go to Mexico the year before, and I did have the kind of a health situation with one of our members, and that was very overwhelming and scary. But it was just neat how, despite me being unequipped for this situation, like God pulled people in at these different moments that helped me resolve these different problems that were coming up. And this person ended up being fine, and we had to take him to the hospital, and it was kind of a whole big situation. But it was just neat in retrospect to see how God, despite me not being able to handle the situation, he sort of put pieces in place and people in place to take care of this person. And so that was pretty neat to experience.
That's a wrap for Mr. Jason.
All right. How'd I do?